welcome to our YouTube channel. My name is Hippy Bambino. I'm out here with Nika Card, right? But that's not her name.
Because my niece don't do that.
What the fuck are you doing with that?
So Hippy.
Thank you so much for that. It's been a lovely one.
It's been great.
It's been a great one.
Burnout. Let's talk about it. So I'm pretty sure by now we've at the very least heard of something called burnout. But what is it?
I'd like to believe burnout is the state where you reach physical and mental exhaustion that can essentially feed out into the way you get your tasks done with low energy or low motivation.
So before you start tripping, I don't know, those of you who might be on something right now, yes, there was a voice. No, my mouth wasn't speaking. And I don't sound like that. So who do we have on today's episode talking to us about burnout? Can you take a guess? Now that I've said, take the time to guess who we have on today's show. We have Mr. Hippy Bambino, Mr. Creative Director and Founder of Karma. You see the brand? We have Mr. Creative Director of Off the Vapors too. If you haven't listened to it, go and check it out on all streaming platforms, including Spotify and Apple Music by Banty and Visa View. He's the one who did the art. One of the art that you look at here, him. His pronouns, by the way, are he, him, goat.
Bingo!
So when you go out there in public and you see him, now you know.
Just say man, and I'm the only one who's gonna answer.
So let's get right into burnout.
Okay.
Burnout is a state of physical and emotional exhaustion, right? It usually occurs after you've been through long-term stress, either in your job, at school, wherever it is, and you can get more of this information on healthguide.org, right? So we're just gonna jump into the episode. You've already told us what you think burnout is. I've given us the actual definition, but you're pretty spot on. Like, you did your homework, I think. I don't know if you did your homework, or if you're just smart like that. You're just smart like that. Okay.
I'd like to go with, I think having experienced it and not knowing that I experienced it at an earlier stage in my creative lifestyle is what made me more open to knowing more about it. Because there would be times when you'd zone out and you just think that maybe you're just tired, maybe you just don't have motivation this day. Then someone says, oh, you must be burnt out. And you're like, burnt out? What do you mean burnt out? What's that? What are we talking about?
Yeah.
So I'm a bit familiar with what the topic is today.
So it wasn't you like feeling these things and then going, let me go Google. Guys, don't Google things.
If you Google something, they'll
tell you you're going to die tomorrow. They will tell you, oh, by the way, sweetie,
I've got a blister. They're telling me that no, you've got foot cancer. Ha!
Exactly.
And you're just like, oh, mom, let me just put my affairs in order right now.
By the way, I hid all my money underneath the couch. Okay, so when I go, there it is. Thanks. Alright, cool. So we've already spoken about burnout. And as you were saying, there's some times where you feel, no, maybe I'm just tired. Maybe I'm just stressed. Maybe, there's so many things that burnout can be mistaken for, right? The two leading ones are stress and depression.
Yeah.
Because the symptoms look a lot like them too. Do you know what the symptoms are?
Some of them. I'd like to believe I've got a rough idea. With burnout, you'd feel extremely fatigued. And most of this fatigue will come when you're doing a task that you enjoy doing or the task that you've been given at the time. You'd feel fatigued. Your motivation as well will go down into doing, because of that fatigue, the motivation to do the given task at time would go down and you just feel like, maybe I'm doing too much or maybe I'm just not in the mood to do this right now. 3, self-esteem. In a way, your self-esteem, you bring yourself down when you're burnt out, because it's just like, yo, is what I'm doing enough, or is it necessary for this point in time? So yeah, I think those would be some of the symptoms I'd recognize to detect burnout.
You're actually quite spot on. Like, I'm pretty sure I feel like you did your homework. I really feel when we sent you the show prep, we shouldn't have done that. Because now you were there Googling, like, okay, guys, what's burnout? What are the symptoms? What, what entails? Yeah. Basically, low self-esteem, low motivation, you feel, there's feelings of worthlessness, there's feelings of I'm not doing enough, So if you're feeling all of these things, you're probably burnt out. You're not actually worthless. You're not a piece of shit. You're just burnt out, right? There's so many different things though, right? Because people are looking at this and they're like, no, I'm stressed, right? And that's one of the biggest ones, like I was saying, that people mistake for burnout, or people mistake with burnout, right? And here is the little indication or the differences, right? Because there's burnout, there's stress, right? And then we'll go into depression in a little bit, right? So there's stress, you have overengagement, overreactive emotions, urgency and hyperactivity, loss of energy, anxiety, and a physical toll, right? Whereas with burnout, we've got disengagement. You see how already the first one is different. Overengagement, disengagement, two different things, right? Detached emotions, hopelessness, loss of motivation, depression, and an emotional toll, right? So they're really just looking really, really different. But a lot of people, because we don't talk about it enough, how often are we sitting there and talking to our friends and being like, guys, I'm burnt out, right? Maybe nowadays a little bit more. It's being recognized as a tad bit more. Yeah. But before, we'd just be like, yo, guys, stress has gotten here. The chokehold, it's right there. But we never really took the time to be like, maybe it's not stress. Yeah. Or like, hey guys, I'm going through the worst depressive episode. I know I've said that a lot, and it was probably just burnout. Yeah. Right? But the other thing is, burnout is also not one of those things that's irreversible, guys. There's hope. And we're gonna get into that hope in a little bit. Right? So now, when it comes to depression and burnout, because they look so similar, like I said earlier, there's feelings of worthlessness, there's feelings of loss of motivation, you feel like you're not enough, you're not doing enough, you're not working hard enough, and it's like, why am I going through all of this? I'm trying my very hardest, or I'm trying my best, and yet still it feels like I'm not doing enough. Burnout. You're not depressed, sweetie. You don't need to run that fast to the psychiatrist, although please seek help. Please seek the help. You're probably just burnt out. Unfortunately, there's no pill to just cure it, but there are some ways to help. This is the hope I was just talking about. Right? Take time to yourself. Go home, sleep. Take 24 hours, just sleep. Obviously, it's going to take more than 24 hours because you're not going to just go to bed today and just be like, yeah. Okay, tomorrow I wake up, everything's fine. If you need a week, vacations, guys, please remember a vacation, it's good for you. I am all for a vacation. I am never going to say no to a vacation. You want to take me somewhere? Someone take me to Santon, actually.
Anyway, with burnout, on a serious note, looking at how it happens, I think coming back to your point on where it could be mistaken with depression, with burnout, you're sort of in a situation where, like I said, you feel fatigued, you feel overworked, and one thing that we never take the time to do is have that break. Like if you want to keep moving. Yeah. Let's put, for example, you probably work, right? You work and you do a 9 to 5. After that 9 to 5, your body is exhausted, you want to rest, but then you don't necessarily get back to resting because you've also got that attachment. Say, oh, let me see what's happening on social media, let me do that, and you find yourself spending useless hours on so many of these platforms, just scrolling, You go on TikTok, even worse. You can spend 3 hours watching videos that are less than 1 minute, but 3 hours, 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. You wake up again, you wake up, it's the same routine.
Yeah.
And because everything is done in routine with no space to have that break, people get burnt out. And when that burnt out process happens, you never know what to do because you never even know if it's burnout or not in this case, because we've just grown up with the terms that society uses. Society doesn't use burnout.
Yes.
They use stress or depression.
Hey, it's one or
If it's one or the other, have you ever gone to the hospital and say, okay, I'm feeling this way? They're gonna give you any of. They'll never say probably just take a break. You're probably burnt out. It's always, is there anything you're stressing about? Is there something at work? Is there something at home that can have you frustrated or this and that? So I think the biggest thing that we just have to do when we're mentioning the possible cures is to also raise awareness in a way that burnout does happen. And like I said, I'm a victim of burnout. It constantly happens.
Yeah.
But I think because I've gone through it enough times, especially when I was first starting out with like graphic designing and the like, you go, you have it, and I would take breaks. Personally, my social media knows me. I would be the guy that just disappears.
Yeah.
And I won't say anything, I won't tell any of my, I'll just go and say, you know what, that there's too much energy. I'm exhausted, then I'm getting energy from this person that I'm texting and saying, oh, hope you had a good day. There's that positive one, then there's that person who's also saying, ish, I'm feeling down. And when those energies collide, you also sort of get whatever energy that are feeding you, and that goes into you before you like go to bed and all.
Yeah.
And so raising awareness on burnout should be a thing, especially to creatives as well, because a lot of creatives that will say, you know what, this isn't worth it, and it would be a stage now. Burnout would be a stage of depression, because if already you're feeling like it's not worth it in the burnout process, you will then start saying, you know what, maybe this shit ain't worth it.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not worth it. I should just stop.
Because there's no breaks.
Yeah.
Right? There's really no breaks. Whether you're creative or like even with your 9 to 5s. Like some people, right? Depending on what career you're going into. By the way, this is about who burnout affects the most. Right?
Yeah.
If you have a high demand job, right? Let's say you're a lawyer, for example, like some of us who are struggling out there. You're a lawyer and everything, you've got a bunch of cases to read. I'm speaking from experience. Yeah, you've got a bunch of cases to read, you've got precedents to read, all of that, right? This doesn't stop just in the office. After you leave the office, you go home, you still have to read up on those things. But now imagine, you've been there since 9 in the morning and now it's 7 p.m. because nobody actually knocks off at 5.
Yeah.
Go home, you must cook, right? You can't just order food because fish gets bad, right? You must cook now. After you cook, now you're trying to be on social media just to wind down a little bit. Next thing you know, like you said, 3 hours have passed. You're wondering where have they gone? You still need to go back to those cases that you've left off at the office, right? Now you keep going. All of a sudden it's 1 a.m. You still have to be awake and ready and in the office by 9 a.m. You're tired. After a week of doing that over and over and over again. Now imagine you're somebody who's also in the creative space, right? You know, you've got to plan out an episode and do all of this, talk to your manager, social media this, social media that, then you have to do all of these other things. It all adds up. You're overstimulated every day. There's something new, there's a deadline to meet, somebody's asking you for something. And you're like, guys, when do I get to stop? Now imagine you're also in the creative space and not as many people are engaging with your work in as much as like you've got a goal. You want 50 people, let's say, and you've only got like 10 people who are, engaging in it. After you've been putting in all that work,
now doesn't motivate you.
Exactly. Now those feelings of worthlessness are coming up, and you're like, but I'm putting in all. Every day I'm tired. Every day I'm going to bed at 2 in the morning to produce this amount of work for my 9 to 5, to produce this amount of work for the creative space, to produce all of this. These are the things you don't see behind the scenes, right? And then you wonder why all these big artists, all these people at some point commit suicide or whatever it is. It's because it started off as burnout. And they didn't take that break because they're like, no, it's just stress. Right? If I just take a little nap nyana in the afternoon, I'll be good.
Yeah.
But it's not just a nap. You need way more than that. Talk to somebody, right? A professional. Talk to your friends if you feel like a professional is too expensive. And actually have a conversation about what you're feeling. Yeah, sure, some of them might look at you and be like, oh no, you're just stressed, you're just depressed. But that's because, like you said, there isn't enough awareness around the topic of burnout.
Yeah.
Nobody's talking about burnout. Right? I cannot tell you anybody who's come to me and be like, no, you're probably just burnt out. It's probably, yeah, stressed. You know? Or, hey, Shami, that sounds like depression. Are you okay?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But we're not talking about burnout, we're not talking about, and it's a thing that, by the way, guys, the World Health Organization, it recognizes that burnout is a thing. But I feel like we still don't have enough of our doctors, or that's not to say the doctors are not doing their job. It's just, it's also fairly new in being recognized by the World Health Organization.
Yeah.
It's not something that they've been saying since 2012 or whatever. It's something that literally just came out. So now, only now is when you'll hear a doctor maybe say, you might be burned out. You might be experiencing 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So yeah, like we were saying, burnout. Sorry, you cut that part out. I was seeing you walking around like, that'll be good. But you'll cut out that part. But yeah, burnout also can have effects on you physically. Imagine that stress you've been thinking you've been having. It can have an emotional toll on you. And then physical too. Guys, I'm telling you right now, first and foremost, I think we all know I'm a banging person. I've got a banging body. If I start to see my body start to do like that, just to go down, we're fighting. Over burnout! Because we don't talk about it enough. Because we don't talk about it enough. Guys, no, actually we'll fight. Because did you know you can have gastrointestinal problems, high blood pressure?
Wait, hold up, what?
Gastrointestinal basically.
This from burnout?
From burnout.
Yo, so I was thinking I was hungry the other day, it's gastro, what? Continue. Educate me too. I think I'm
that time, yeah, thinking, oh, nah, I just have diarrhea 2 seconds. Hey, that time it's your burnout. You can. It's insane. It's insane. You cut off that part.
Stop hitting the table since we're cutting out that part. Don't forget the mic is there, so it's picking up that.
I know, I'm gonna cut it out too.
You're going to a cut. 30
Yeah,
seconds.
there's so many things. Yeah, so there's gastrointestinal problems, high blood pressure, a pure immune function. Guys, you can get sick more often. And you know what? Those of you who know, during that time between episode 5 and 6, if I'm not mistaken, if not 5 and 6, 4 and 5, I was fighting for my life. And I'm pretty sure it was burnout because I have not gotten sick in years. In literal years, like I'm talking before COVID. I didn't get the flu, I was fine. All of a sudden, the flu and I, boxing. I was dying. I'm pretty sure it was burnout. But at the same time, I might be wrong. Reoccurring headaches, sleep issues, concentration issues, a depressed mood, feeling worthless, loss of interest or pleasure, suicidal ideation, and fatigue. This is the list, it's long. But I'm just stressed. Think about it. You might be burnt out. You don't know. It could be burnout. Now here are the signs that you might be feeling burnt out. You're at home, you've been working on your laptop, now you're starting to zone out.
Yeah.
And then at some point after you zone back in, you're like, oh, and I'm still doing this.
Yeah.
And you're like, but why am I still doing this actually? I've had too many moments like that where I'm reading over a case, I'm reading over like some precedent, the constitution, something, and I'm like, actually, why am I still going?
Yeah.
For what, actually? The money is not enough. If the money is not enough, then I can't buy all the things that I want. I can't do all these things. I still have to pay these bills. That time, they're still on my ass about something that I need to submit next week. Why are you giving me stress already? And it's like, it's not worth it anymore.
Yeah.
Right? So there's those feelings, right? That's one of the signs to see, okay, I'm getting burnt out. You're more tired. more often, every day. He's just like, yo, 6 o'clock, yeah, ready to go to bed. Right? And you're thinking, oh no, I've just had a busy week. Yes, you've had a busy week. But at the same time, you see where I'm going with this. I think we all see where I'm going with this. On top of that, other than just the feelings of worthlessness, why am I still doing it?
Yeah.
You're tired. Now your stomach also doesn't want anymore.
Eish.
You've got diarrhea.
Yeah.
You've got the bubble guts. You're trying to figure out what's going on.
Eish.
Then on top of that, you're struggling to sleep. Those nights where you're trying to go to bed and you're just tossing and turning, the time is moving, it's going tick tock,
Yeah.
tick tock. You're going, why? And it's not because you're on your phone scrolling through TikTok. You're actually just tossing and turning in bed and you're wondering, what has got me awake? Why am I still awake? Burnout.
Yeah.
Burnout. It's knocking on your door, it's going. It's just there, asking you to take a break, right? And like I was saying earlier, help yourself by taking a break. I'm talking more than just a day. Take a week off. I know people, they want things from you. You've got deadlines to meet and everything. Take a week, at least a week. I know they're at work, they give you like sick leave and stuff. Go to your doctor, tell them what you're feeling. If they recognize that it is burnout, they give you however many days off that they give you, so you can just relax. I know you university kids, let's not even pretend like you don't bank classes. You bank. Take that week. If mama's asking you why you're still at home, well, listen, go to your friend's house and say that you were at school the whole day. Come on. So long as you know you're getting that break, but I'm not saying that do that for the entire semester, please. Next thing you know, when you're looking at me asking me where my degree is, I can't help you. That's between you, your lecturers, and your university. I didn't say take the semester off, I said take a week off. But if you need the semester off, talk to your people about whoever's paying for your degree. Talk to them. Be like, listen, right now, if I keep going like this, soon, I'm going to be sleeping on the highway. So, and I make it sound light, I make it sound funny, but it's a thing that's actually happening. So many students are going through this, right? It's not just people in the working class.
But I think one aspect that everyone can try and practice more, besides just taking a week off, it's not the easiest solution per se, because you'd have to go through certain procedures. If it's school, it's like, oh, how do I take a week off school and then like, but burnout again, it's not like it's a permanent thing. It can be temporary. So I think more people should be practicing having these sorts of breaks in their schedule in the day, because obviously if you're a student, you've got your weekly schedule, the days that you've got your classes, the days that you don't have, or the days that are less packed. You just practice in a daily routine, maybe an hour, even 2 hours. As soon as you're done with school, or even before school, you just have that time to yourself, phone off, no disturbance from anyone, take a walk,
grass.
Just something that's, can I say, unlike the usual routine, that can just have your mind wander somewhere else and just be your own other reality, because that also helps. For those who are working, when you're done with work,
go to the gym.
Yeah, the gym actually gets your mind.
That's why I got these gains.
Let's leave the body, the mind, guys, the mind. If you wanted to show guns, would remove this hoodie, but the mind, yeah, it opens your mind into a huger thinking capacity and allows you, it just helps you take your mind off stuff. Besides that, if you're a creative, then take the time to just zone into what you do best. Not saying that you should start overworking yourself and all that, but have the time to say that, okay, no, let me just do what I do, but now for fun. Because most of the times we have these stuff that we're supposed to do as tasks. So, like for example, I'm with Nika the podcast, so let me just create my own 30-minute podcast, and showering where I'm just there like some of us,
in the shower.
our free time in our households, because we're forever busy people. It's a toilet, to be honest. We're not just taking that shit or we're having that bath. You know what I mean? So
that morning dump.
Yeah, so just take that time to yourself. Put Alicia Keys. Don't lie to yourself. You love her. You want to sing.
This girl is on fire, fire, fire.
I was wondering, maybe.
Exactly.
If I made you my
All these things.
People are out here gonna listen to this and they're gonna be like, they relate, they know that they get that.
Hey, I know you're out there trying to act like
they can't say
a
that
big guy. You listen only to 21 Savage.
Pop Smoke.
But we all know.
With the
we all know you're at home and you're listening to Alicia Keys. You're just Taylor Swift. Man, I see you.
Hey, Taylor Swift goes down.
I see you in your house.
When you're sleeping.
You.
I'm telling you, can clear Burnout with Taylor Swift. Just sweep the house. It's me. Hi. I'm the problem. It's me.
Exactly. You know. All of a sudden, you're starting to feel better. Like, guys, let's be honest. When you're at home and you're doing all of these things, you're singing these songs, your mini concert is going. By the end of it, you feel lighter.
True.
It's a fact.
It's a fact.
You'll be feeling lighter after you've been blasting what Taylor Swift and everything. Guys, listen, I get it. You love Billie Eilish and all, but she's not the music for Burnout. She's really not.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you're going to be there looking at the roof of a building and you're like, that rooftop is 6. Please no, not Billie. Billie, her music is beautiful. It's amazing. She's got a great voice, but please.
Billie Eilish, you know what she reminds me of sometimes? You've seen the way we've got PC and Justin 99 with the Kilimanjaro dance, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, Billie Eilish is like the white Kilimanjaro. You know what I mean? Just put a Billie Eilish song in. You know? But point of
the whole point is before we get sidetracked.
Get time to yourself and do something that you actually genuinely love. If you don't love anything, find something that you
listen
can.
To this podcast.
Oh my God, Jesus! So on Spotify though, I'm just saying.
And Google Podcasts.
And Deezer.
And too many other things. Stitcher, Pandora, you know,
all
Simplecast,
white people.
Castbox.
Yes.
Radio Public.
Yes.
All of.
Yes. All of.
But yeah, just to kind of wrap it up and everything, right? I think one of our biggest things. Do you actually think that burnout is something that the older generation? When I say older generation, I mean wait.
Even before you finish.
The question is not finished. Do you think it's something that they recognize? Yeah.
No, but they somehow do recognize it.
I'm talking like Gen X. I'm not talking millennials. I'm talking.
Yeah, no, they somehow recognize that they get burnt out, but when they recognize that they get burnt out, they don't admit it because we've grown up with an older generation where when problems happen, it's just that like, you know what, let me brush it to the side and be stronger for the people around me. Yeah. But I feel like they recognize that, hey, I'm not it, my boy.
Hey, right now,
like it's not even stress, it's not even, but I'm not it, it's child. Yeah. But they choose to be stronger for the other people around them.
They've got those responsibilities that they can't let go of, so it's harder to take a break. But alright, guys, that's been Burnout. So now, like I said at the beginning, we're going to ask Mr. Men to tell us a little bit more about himself. Right?
I'm actually bad at this. Can we do it?
Yeah, you know that thing where we ask someone to tell us about themselves, all of a sudden you don't know anything about yourself. What's my name?
I'm bad with that.
Okay, so far we know that you're the creative director of the Vapors.
Yeah.
We know that you're the creative director, the founder of Karma. But what more is there?
What more is Hippy Bambino? Hippy Bambino is a creative genius, in other words, and you know, being asked about yourself is hard. Yeah, how do people go through talking stages?
Alright, I don't know. I don't know, because some of us we did like this when it came to that topic. So okay, cool. Tell us, is there anything that we can expect from you in the near future?
Is there anything you can expect from me? First of all, guys, bye. I hope that's focusing. It's not focusing on audio. That's a funny thing. But on camera, it is focusing.
He's talking about his cap, guys. He has
So
caps,
bye.
he's got hoodies, he's got shorts, he's got too
We
many
got the
things.
whole shabam. So I think what's next for me this coming year is just more merchandise, more range. Because I think last year being the birthday of the brand, it was just a startup.
Yeah.
But this year we're trying to go full on. We're trying to make sure that you've got every piece of everything.
Hey, this year he got you for winter.
I have got you in that.
Those of you who are single, you don't have a cuddle buddy.
Cuddle with karma. Cuddle
He's
with
got
karma.
exactly cuddle with karma.
Cuddle
He's
with
got
karma.
the hoodies. He's got the sweatpants. All of it. It's coming in. It's coming.
Yeah.
Like, where can we buy the things actually?
Go to the Karmagram page on Instagram, Karmagram, KARMAGRAM, or on Facebook. You can search for Karma. It's going to be the first thing under the same Karmagram spelling, or you can get the number 75069622 for business only, and that's how you can get Karma merchandise.
All right. Thank you so much. We appreciate you coming onto the show. And that's been Burnout. Yeah, I hope you took a little bit of time to just listen and focus and pay attention. We said that you must what? Relax. Take some time off. Right. Thank you so much for being on the show, Hippy.
Thank you so much for that. It's been a lovely one.
It's been great.
It's been a great one.
It's been great. And thank you so much to everybody who's been listening. As always, I appreciate your presence. All right, till next week.